Good afternoon. Today we are going to be reading through Chapter 4 of Dracula by Bram Stoker. We're not just going to be reading the words, we're going to stop and talk about interesting vocabulary words that you probably don't know if you're learning English. If you're an advanced learner of English, this is advanced vocabulary. So when we encounter expressions, phrasal verbs, or vocabulary that I think you might not know, I will stop and talk about those words. But the great thing is that I'm doing this live right now. So if you're watching this live with me, then you can ask questions in the chat. I encourage you to. I want you to. Don't think that you're interrupting. That's the whole point of doing this, is to talk about interesting words and phrases that we encounter. If you don't ask questions, I probably will just explain the words that I think are very useful that you probably don't know. Okay? So I won't stop to explain everything, but if you want to know something, ask. All right, well, let's get ready. Let's get started with Chapter 4 of Dracula. I awoke in my own bed, and if it be that I had not dreamt, the Count must have carried me here. I tried to satisfy myself on the subject, but could not arrive at any unquestionable result. To be sure, there were certain small evidences, such as that my clothes were folded and laid in a manner which was not my habit. My watch was still unwound. We've talked about the word winding before. Winding is when you turn something and it creates tension. So, an old watch, you would wind the watch so that it would work. So when every day you have to wind, or every 2 or 3 days you have to wind your watch so that it continues moving. My watch was still unwound. Wind, wound, wound, unwound. And I am rigorously accustomed to wind it the last thing before I go to bed, and many such details. But these things are of no proof, for they have been evidences that my mind was not as usual, and for some cause or another I had certainly been much upset. I must watch for proof. Of one thing I am glad. If it was that the Count carried me here and undressed me, he must have been hurried in his task, for my pockets are intact. If something is intact, that means that it hasn't been touched. Nobody touched it, nobody did anything to it. I'm not sure what he means by saying his pockets are intact. Maybe that means that things are still in his pockets, and he normally empties his pockets. For my pockets are still intact. I'm sure this diary would have been a mystery to him, which he would not have brooked. So, he's keeping this diary, and he's starting to feel very uncomfortable staying at the Count's castle, and he's recording it in his diary, and he's very happy that if the Count did take off his clothes, he didn't go into his pockets, and he didn't find the diary or read it, which is very good, as far as he knows. I'm sure that this diary would have been a mystery to him, which he would not have brooked. To brook something means to tolerate something. So he would not have tolerated that mystery. He would have looked. He would have taken or destroyed it. As I look round this room, although it's been to me so full of fear, it is now a sort of sanctuary. A sanctuary is a place where you can have peace and protection. So he was very uncomfortable in that room, but now he feels protected and peaceful in that room after his weird experiences. For nothing can be more dreadful. Dreadful means horrible. Nothing can be more dreadful than those awful women who are waiting to suck my blood. 18th of May. I've been down to look at that room again in the daylight, for I must know the truth. And when I got to the doorway at the top of the stairs, I found it closed. It had been so forcibly driven against the jamb that part of the woodwork was splintered. Splintered wood, that's kind of like broken wood. So I think what he's saying is that it seems like somebody shut the door so hard, maybe because they were angry, that the wood of the door or the frame was sort of broken. I could see that the bolt of the lock had not been shot, but the door is fastened from the inside. I fear it was no dream, and must act on this sunrise. 19th of May. I'm surely in the toils. Toiling is working very hard, but I'm not sure what it means here. I'm surely in the toils. Last night, the Count asked me in the suavest tones to write 3 letters. Well, the Count is asking him to do work. So I guess that's why he says he's in the toils. And suave means smooth. One saying that my work here was nearly done, and that I should start for home within a few days, and another that I was starting on the next morning from the time of the letter, and the third that I had left the castle and arrived at Bistritz. I would fain have rebelled, but felt that in the present state of things it would be madness to quarrel openly with the Count whilst I'm so absolutely in his power. So that's kind of scary. The Count is making him write letters. I'm on my way. I'm in this town. I'm in that town. And he hasn't left. But he's afraid to protest. He doesn't want to argue with the Count because he's afraid of the Count. He knows that I know too much, and that I must not live lest I be dangerous to him. You know, that word lest it's a signal that you're going to name something you're afraid of, something that you don't want to happen. So what was it that he doesn't want to happen? Lest I be dangerous. So he's saying the Count will kill me, lest I be dangerous to him. Because maybe, let's say that in a different way. He's going to kill me because he's afraid I'm going to tell everyone what a weirdo he is. That's really what it means. So that lest is a signal, and after it, you name what you're afraid of. The thing you fear, the thing you don't want to happen. Take your umbrella, it's raining. Take your umbrella, lest you get wet. My only chance is to prolong my opportunities. Something may occur which will give me a chance to escape. I saw in his eyes something of that gathering wrath. Wrath is like anger and revenge. Some of that gathering wrath which was manifest when he hurled that fair woman from me. Hurling is throwing. He explained to me that posts were few and uncertain, and that my writing now would ensure ease of mind to my friends, and he assured me, with so much impressiveness, that he would countermand the later letters, which would be held over at Bistritz until due time, in case chance would admit of my prolonging my stay. That to oppose him would have been to create new suspicion. I therefore pretended to fall in with his views and asked him what dates I should put on the letters. He calculated a minute and then said, the first should be June 12th, the second June 19th, and the third June 29th. I know now the span of my life. Span kind of means like the length. So he's saying, now I know when I'm going to die. I know now the span of my life. God help me. 28th of May. There's a chance of escape, or at any rate of being able to send word home. A band of Zgani had come to the castle, and are encamped in the courtyard. These are gypsies. I have notes of them in my books. They are peculiar to this part of the world, though allied to the ordinary gypsies all the world over. There are thousands of them in Hungary and Transylvania, who are almost outside all law. They attach themselves as a rule to some great noble or boyar, and call themselves by his name. They are fearless and without religion, save superstition, and they talk only their own varieties of the Romany language. I shall write some letters home, and I shall try to get them to have them posted. I've already spoken to them through my window to begin acquaintanceship. They took their hats off and made obeisance and many signs which, however, I could not understand any more than I could their spoken language. I've written the letters. Mina's is in shorthand. I'm just going to show you. We've talked about shorthand before, but I'll just show you an example of shorthand. Before the digital age, before computers and recorders, people when people wanted to record what somebody was saying, if they wanted to write what somebody was saying, they had to use a special kind of alphabet that was easy to write. You know, I guess the Latin alphabet is too difficult to write. So secretaries or business people had to learn this way of writing called shorthand. So here's shorthand. See, it's very easy to write it. You can write it very quickly. And I can't read it. I don't know what it says, but that's shorthand. So it's like a code. If you don't know shorthand, you can't understand what's being said. I've written the letters. Mina's is in shorthand, and I simply asked Mr. Hawkins to communicate with her. To her I have explained my situation, but without the horrors, which I may only surmise. Surmise means like guess, to guess. It would shock and frighten her to death. What? Why? Well, I think it means to guess, but I'm just going to check. Because it doesn't seem to fit here. Maybe it means something else. Yeah, suppose, guess, conclude. The man who took them pressed them to his heart and bowed, and then put them in his cap. I could do no more. I stole back to the study and began to read, as the Count did not come in. I have written here. The Count has come. He sat down beside me, and said in his smoothest voice as he opened 2 letters, "The Sgani have given me these, of which though I know not whence they come, I shall of course take care. See, he must have looked at it. One is from you, and to my friend Peter Hawkins. The other, here," he caught sight of the strange symbols as he opened the envelope, and the dark look came into his face, and his eyes blazed wickedly. "The other is a vile thing, an outrage upon friendship and hospitality. It is not signed. Well, so it cannot matter to us." And he calmly held the letter envelope in the flame of the lamp till they were consumed. I guess the Count can read shorthand. Then he went on. "The letter to Hawkins, that I shall of course send on, since it's yours. Your letters are sacred to me. Your pardon, my friend, that unknowingly I did break the seal. Will you not cover it again?" He held out the letter to me, and with a courteous bow handed me a clean envelope. I could only redirect it and hand it to him in silence. And when he went out of the room, I could hear the key turn softly. A minute later, I went over and tried it, and the door was locked. When, an hour or two after, the Count came quietly into the room, his coming awakened me, for I had gone to sleep on the sofa. He was very courteous, and very cheery in his manner, and seeing that I had been sleeping, he said, "So, my friend, you're tired? Get to bed. There is the surest rest. I may not have the pleasure of talk tonight, since there are many labors to me, but you will sleep, I pray." I passed to my room and went to bed, and, strange to say, slept without dreaming. Despair has its own calms. Despair means no hope, like feeling hopeless, feeling that there's no hope. The 31st of May. This morning, when I woke up, I thought I would provide myself with some papers and envelopes from my bag and keep them in my pocket, so I might write in case I should get an opportunity. But again a surprise, again a shock. Every scrap of paper was gone, and with it all my notes, my memoranda relating to railways and travel, my letter of credit, in fact, all that might be useful to me were I once outside the castle. I sat and pondered a while. To ponder is to think about something very deeply. So I sat and I thought very deeply for a while. I sat and pondered for a while. And then some thought occurred to me, and I made search of my portmanteau and in the wardrobe where I had placed my clothes. The suit in which I had traveled was gone, and also my overcoat and rug. I could find no trace of them anywhere. This looked like some new scheme of villainy. 17th of June. This morning, as I was sitting on the edge of my bed, cudgeling my brains. Well, let's define that word, cudgel. I've heard that before, but it's not a terribly common word. Cudgel. Short, thick stick or club used as a weapon. Okay, to strike or hit something with a heavy stick. So maybe if he's cudgeling his brain, he's going like this. Think, 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 think. As I was sitting on the edge of my bed, cudgeling my brains, I heard without a crackling of whips and pounding and scraping of horses' feet up the rocky path beyond the courtyard. With joy, I hurried to the window and saw drive into the yard 2 great Leder wagons, each drawn by 8 sturdy horses. Sturdy means strong. And at the head of each pair a Slovak, with his wide hat, great nail-studded belt, dirty sheepskin, and high boots. They had also their long staves in hand. I ran to the door, intending to descend and try to join them through the main hall, as I thought that way might be opened for them. Again a shock. My door was fastened on the outside. Then I ran to the window and cried to them. They looked up at me stupidly and pointed, but just then the hetman of the Zgani came out, and seeing them pointing to my window, said something, at which they laughed. Henceforth, no effort of mine, no piteous cry or agonized entreaty would make them even look at me. They resolutely turned away. The later wagons contained great square boxes with handles of thick rope. These were evidently empty by the case with which the Slovaks handled them, and by their resonance as they were roughly moved. When they were all unloaded and packed, in a great heap, a heap is a pile, in a great heap in one corner of the yard, the Slovaks were given some money by the Zgani, and spitting on it for luck, lazily went each to his horse's head. Shortly afterwards, I heard the crackling of their whips die away in the distance. 24th of June. Last night the Count left me early and locked himself into his own room. As soon as I dared, I ran up to the winding stair and looked out of the window, which opened south. I thought I would watch for the Count, for there's something going on. The Scani were quartered somewhere in the castle. To be quartered means you're living there. So this group of gypsies were living somewhere in the castle now. David Garcia says hello. Hello, David. Thank you for joining. I thought I would watch for the Count, for there's something going on. The Zgani are quartered somewhere in the castle and are doing work of some kind. I know it, for now and then I hear far away muffled sound of a mattock and a spade. Muffle is when something that's loud becomes quiet. So, right now I'm talking, but if I do this, I'm muffling my voice. So, there's some work happening somewhere in the castle. He can hear a noise, but it's muffled because it's very far away and there are many walls. Whatever it is, it must be the end of some ruthless villainy. I had been at the window somewhat less than half an hour when I saw something coming out of the Count's window. I drew back and watched carefully and saw a whole man emerge. It was a new shock to me to find that he had on the suit of clothes which I had worn whilst traveling here, and slung over his shoulder the terrible bag which I'd seen the women take away. There could be no doubt as to his quest, and in my garb, too. Garb means clothing. This, then, is his new scheme of evil, and he will allow others to see me as they think, so that he may both leave evidence that I have been seen in the towns or villages posting my own letters, and that any wickedness which he may do shall by the local people be attributed to me. It makes me rage to think that this can go on, and whilst I'm shut up here, a veritable prisoner. 9-Volt Fan says hello. Hi, 9-Volt Fan. How are you doing today? But without that, it makes me rage to think that this can go on, and whilst I am shut up here, a veritable prisoner. But without that protection of the law, which is even a criminal's right and consolation. I thought I would watch for the Count's return, and for a long time sat doggedly at the window. What does that mean, doggedly? Again, this is not a very common or useful word, but I've heard it before, but I just don't know exactly what it means. Let's see. Doggedly means to do something with persistent determination, tenacity, or stubbornness. Then I began to notice there were some quaint little specks floating in the rays of the moonlight. They were like the tiniest grains of dust, and they whirled round and gathered in clusters in a nebulous sort of way. Nebulous means like a cloud. So, and a little speck, well, we better take a look at a picture of what a speck is. A speck is just any kind of small thing. Small little round thing. See, that's a speck. It's like a little point. These are You could think of these as specks. They're probably stars in the sky, but the stars look like specks. Here's a speck on a finger. Let's read that again, now that we understand speck a little bit better. They were like the tiniest grains of dust. Then I began to notice that there were some quaint little specks floating in the rays of the moonlight, and they were like the tiniest grains of dust, and they whirled around. Whirling around is moving in a circle. They whirled around and gathered in clusters in a nebulous sort of way. So the specks were moving around, but they were kind of close together, and they sort of looked like clouds. Nebulous. I watched them with a sense of soothing. We've had that word several times. Soothing means relaxing. So watching them made him feel more relaxed. And a sort of calm stole over me. I leaned back in the embrasure in a more comfortable position so that I could enjoy more fully the aerial gamboling. Something made me start up. So remember that start doesn't just mean begin. It can mean surprise. So when you do this, that's starting. That's you've probably seen the word startle, which means surprised, and to start could mean to begin, but it can also mean to feel surprised or to jump in surprise. Something made me start up. Something surprised me and made me jump up. A low, piteous howling of dogs, and dogs howling is, oh, that's howling. A low, piteous howling of dogs somewhere far below in the valley, which was hidden from my sight. Louder it seemed to ring in my ears, and the floating motes of dust to take new shapes to the sound as they danced in the moonlight. I felt myself struggling to awake to some call of my instincts. Nay, my very soul was struggling, and my half-remembered sensibilities were striving to answer the call. I was becoming hypnotized. Quicker and quicker danced the dust. The moonbeams seemed to quiver as they went by me into the mass of gloom beyond. More and more they gathered, till they seemed to take the dim phantom shapes. And then I started, broad awake and in full possession of my senses, and ran screaming from the place. The phantom shapes which were becoming gradually materialized from the moonbeams were those 3 ghostly women to whom I was doomed. So that I guess the dust, which was the little specks which were kind of floating in clouds, started taking shape, and then it became the 3 women who scared him the night before, or a few nights ago, or a few weeks ago, whenever it was. I fled. To flee means to run away, and felt somewhat safer in my own room, where there was no moonlight, and where the lamp was burning brightly. When a couple of hours had passed, I heard something stirring. Stirring means moving. I heard something stirring in the Count's room, something like a sharp wail. A wail is like a loud cry. Wah! Quickly suppressed. Wah! Suppressed. Oh, shut up. Don't scream. And then there was silence. Deep, awful silence, which chilled me. With a beating heart, I tried the door, but I was locked in my prison and could do nothing. I sat down and simply cried. As I sat, I heard a sound in the courtyard without the agonized cry of a woman. I rushed to the door. I rushed to the window, and throwing it up, peered between the bars. There indeed was a woman with disheveled hair. Disheveled means, if I do this to my hair, then it would look kind of crazy, and that would be disheveled hair. holding her hands over her heart and one distressed with running. She was leaning against the corner of the gateway, and when she saw my face at the window, she threw herself forward and shouted in a voice laden with menace, "Monster, give me my child!" She threw herself on her knees, and raising up her hands, cried the same words and tones which wrung my heart. Wrung my heart. And then she tore her hair and beat her breasts, and abandoned herself to all the violences of extravagant emotion. Finally, she threw herself forward, and though I could not see her, I could hear the beating of her naked hands against the door. Somewhere, high overhead, probably on the tower, I heard the voice of the Count calling in his harsh, metallic whisper. His call seemed to be answered from far and wide by the howling of wolves. Before many minutes had passed, a pack of them poured, like a pent-up dam when liberated, through a wide entrance into the courtyard. So the Count is on top of the castle, and he's calling out, and all of the wolves are answering. All the wolves around in the mountains or in the wilderness are answering. "Ow!" They're howling. "Ow!" That's howling. And then they're coming in. They're coming into the courtyard. So a group of wolves is gathering in the courtyard of the castle. There was no cry from the woman, and the howling of the wolves was but short. Before long they streamed away singly, licking their lips. I could not pity her, for I knew now what had become of her child, and she was better dead. What shall I do? What can I do? How can I escape from this dreadful thing of night, gloom, and fear? 25th of June. No man knows till he has suffered from the night, how sweet and dear to his heart and eye the morning can be. David Garcia says, stream away. Is that a phrasal verb? Yes, that is a phrasal verb, and that is one. I don't know if you know the word stream, so I'm going to show you a picture of a stream. Oh, actually, that's a pretty common word on the internet, isn't it? Streaming. But let's look at what it really is, okay? And then maybe you'll understand what streaming, why they call it streaming. A stream is like a baby river, a little river. This is a stream. Streams are small, but you see, it's like flowing water in a line. So when you're streaming, they call it streaming because, you know, if you watch a YouTube video, YouTube is sending the signal. It's like water moving towards you. That's why it's called streaming. And you can imagine the wolves leaving the castle, streaming away. They're going away, but they're going away in a line, like maybe 3 or 4 moving together in a long line. So that's why it says streaming away. You can imagine a long line of wolves moving like water. When the sun grew so high this morning that it struck the top of the great gateway opposite my window, the high spot which it touched seemed to me as if the dove from the ark had lighted there. My fear fell from me as if it had been a vaporous garment which dissolved in the warmth. I must take action of some sort whilst the courage of the day is upon me. Last night one of my post-dated letters went to the post. the first of that fatal series, which is to blot out the very traces of my existence from the earth. Blot out is also a phrasal verb. I wonder what happens if we just... I'm just wondering what kind of picture we would get if we just look for blot. This is what I... Okay, here, I'm going to show you this picture. This is what I imagine a blot is. This is exactly the picture I have in my head when I think of that word blot. Something just like that. But blot out means like blocking. So let's see. If I say watch, I'll put blot out the sun, and it will probably show an eclipse. Nope. What is this? I guess it's the name of a game or a song or something. I don't know. But, oh, here we go, finally. It took a while to find the eclipse. You can say, so think of blotting out as meaning like blocking. So the moon is the blot, and the moon is blotting out the sun. It's blocking the sun. It's like a spot upon the sun. How was it used here? I must take action of some sort whilst the courage of day is upon me. Last night, one of my post-dated letters went to the post, the first of that fatal series, which was to blot out the very traces of my existence. So, you know, the Count had him write these letters. I'm fine, I'm coming home, I'm on my way. And he was worried about that, thinking, why is he having me do this? He's going to kill me. And now that first letter was sent. And he's saying these will blot out his existence. And people will say, what happened to him? He was on his way home and something weird happened. Let me not think of it. Action. It's always been at nighttime that I've been molested or threatened. The word molest means bothered or irritated, something like that. David Garcia says cover. Yeah, kind of like cover, block, be an obstacle. Block or cover, I think is good. Or in some way in danger or in fear. I have not yet seen the Count in the daylight. Can it be that he sleeps when others wake? That he may be awake whilst they sleep? If I could only get into his room. But there's no possible way. The door is always locked. No way for me. Yes, there is a way, if one dares take it. Where his body has gone, why may not another body go? I've seen him myself crawl from his window. Why should I not imitate him? I can go in by his window. The chances are desperate, but my need is more desperate still. I shall risk it, and the worst it can only be death, and a man's death is not a calf's. And the dreaded hereafter may still be open to me. What? I don't understand this. Okay, at the worst, it can be only death, and a man's death is not a calf's. A calf is a baby cow, but I don't really understand that sentence. I'm not sure what that means. And the dreaded hereafter. Hereafter is a way of talking about what happens when you die. So that could mean heaven or hell. The hereafter. Where's John? He's dead. He's in the hereafter. That's how people refer to, we don't know what it is. It's a way of calling it because you don't really know what to say. And the dreaded hereafter may still be open to me. God help me in my task. Goodbye, Mina, if I fail. Goodbye, my faithful friend and second father. Goodbye, all and last of all, Mina. Same day later. I have made the effort, and God helping me have come safely back to this room. I must put down every detail in order. I went, whilst my courage was fresh, straight to the window on the south side, and at once got outside on this side. The stones are big and roughly cut, and the mortar has by process of time been washed away between them. I took off my boots and ventured out on the desperate way. I looked down once, so as to make sure that a sudden glimpse of the awful depth would not overcome me, but after that kept my eyes away from it. I know pretty well the direction and distance of the Count's window, and made for it as well as I could. We've had that phrasal verb to make for a place before, which means like go. I went to the store. I made for the store. The difference between saying I went to the store and I made for the store, when you say you make for a place, it's because you have an intention, a purpose. So you have a goal once you get to the store. So it's always used when you want to imply that more is going to happen because you have goals or intentions. So I went to the store, that's boring. And if you say I made for the store, people will think, and what? Why? What did you need? What was the emergency? What was your goal? So it's a more interesting way to say go. So let's see. So he went to the Count's window and made for it as well as I could, having regard to the opportunities available. I didn't feel dizzy. I suppose I was too excited. And the time seemed ridiculously short till I found myself standing on the window sill and trying to raise up the sash. I was filled with agitation. However, when I bent down and slid feet foremost in through the window, then I looked around for the Count, but with surprise and gladness made a discovery. The room was empty. It was barely furnished with odd things which seemed to have never been used. The furniture was something that same style as in the south rooms, and it was covered with dust. I looked for the key, but it was not in the lock, and I could not find it anywhere. The only thing I found was a great heap. Heap means pile. A great heap of gold in one corner. Gold of all kinds, Roman and British and Austrian and Hungarian and Greek and Turkish money, covered with a film of dust, as though it had been lain long in the ground. None of it that I noticed was less than 300 years old. There were also chains and ornaments and some jeweled, but all of them old and stained. At one corner of the room was a heavy door. I tried it, for since I could not find the key of the room or the key of the outer room, which was the main object of my search, I must make further examination, or all my efforts would be in vain. It was open, and led through a stone passage to a circular stairway which went steeply down. Steep. Imagine if you wanted to walk up a hill. It would be easy. If the hill is like this, that would be pretty easy. But if the hill is like this, that would be difficult. And this is steep. It's kind of like an inclination, which it's usually used when you're talking about difficult to go up or down because it's like this. It's not like this. It's like this. It's steep. So when he says that there was a steep circular staircase, a comfortable staircase maybe would be like this if it's circular. Very big O's. But this is steep, so it goes down like this. And maybe it's not so easy to go up and down. Or a little bit scary. I descended, minding carefully where I went, for the stairs were dark, being only lit by loopholes in the heavy masonry. At the bottom, there was a dark tunnel-like passage through which came a deathly, sickly odor, the odor of old earth newly turned. As I went through the passage, the smell grew closer and heavier. At last I pulled open a heavy door, which stood ajar. When a door is ajar, that means it's a little bit open. We've had that word before. Let me just show you. So this is a door ajar. Just means the door is not closed. Sometimes, most of the time it's used, it means a little bit open. And actually, in the cars, you actually would find, let me see if I can show, yeah, here we go. In your car, you might even have this sign, this is a warning sign in your car. If you don't close your door well, that sign will be on saying door ajar. That means it's a little bit open. You have to close it again. The smell grew closer and heavier. At last I pulled open a heavy door which stood ajar, and found myself in an old ruined chapel. A chapel is like a small church, which had evidently been used as a graveyard. The roof was broken. In two places were steps leading to vaults. But the ground had recently been dug over, and the earth placed in great wooden boxes, manifestly those which had been brought by the Slovaks. There was nobody about, and I made a search over every inch of the ground so as not to lose a chance. I went down even into the vaults, where the dim light struggled, although to do so was a dread to my very soul. When you dread something, it is you have a horrible feeling about some future event. So what did he do? He said, into two of these I went. He went into the vaults, these rooms, these little rooms, and saw nothing except. Oh wait, let me read that. I just want to read the dread part again. I went down even into the vaults where the dim light struggled, although to do so was a dread to my very soul. So imagine that you're in this abandoned church, little church falling apart, and you want to go into this little secret room. It's very dark. How would you feel? You would think, oh, something horrible is going to happen when I go in there. So that's a dread to your soul. But dreading is like anticipating or thinking about something horrible that's going to happen in the future. In two of these I went, but saw nothing except fragments. Fragments means like little pieces. Fragments of old coffins and piles of dust. In the third, however, I made a discovery. There, in one of the great boxes, of which there were 50 in all, on a pile of newly dug earth, lay the Count. And he was either dead or asleep. I could not say which, for eyes were open and stony, but without the glassiness of death, and the cheeks had the warmth of light through all their pallor. The lips were as red as ever, but there was no sign of movement, no pulse, no breath, no beating of the heart. I bent over him and tried to find any sign of life, but in vain. When you do something in vain, it means you get no result. So Jonathan is thinking, is he alive? I want to check to see if he's breathing. So he bends down to check if he's breathing, but this was in vain. He didn't get a result. He didn't discover anything. He didn't discover life, I should say. I bent over him and tried to find any sign of life, but in vain. It means I tried it, but it didn't work. I didn't find any life. He could not have lain there long, for the earthy smell would have passed away in a few hours. by the side of the box was its cover, pierced with holes here and there. I thought he might have the keys on him, but when I went to search, I saw the dead eyes, and in them, dead though they were, such a look of hate, though unconscious of me or my presence, that I fled from the place. Remember, fleeing is running away. So I fled the place. I ran away from the place, and leaving the Count's room by the window, crawled again up the castle wall. Regaining my room, I threw myself, panting upon the bed, and tried to think. 29th of June. Today is the date of my last letter, and the Count has taken steps to prove that it was genuine, for again I saw him leave the castle by the same window, and in my clothes. As he went down the wall, lizard fashion, I wished I had a gun, or some lethal weapon. Lethal means something that can kill. So if you have a lethal disease, that means you have a disease that will kill you. If you have a lethal weapon, it's a weapon that gives you the capability to kill someone. That I might destroy him. But I fear that no weapon wrought along by man's hand would have any effect on him. I dared not wait to see him return, for I feared to see those weird sisters. I came back to the library and read there till I fell asleep. I was awakened by the Count, who looked at me as grimly as a man could look as he said, "Tomorrow, my friend, we must part. You return to your beautiful England, I to some work which may have such an end that we may never meet. Your letter home has been dispatched. Tomorrow I shall not be here, but all shall be ready for your journey. In the morning, come to Skani, who have some labors of their own there, and also come the Slovaks. When they've gone, my carriage shall come for you, and shall bear you to Borgo Pass to meet the diligence from Bukovina to Bistritz. But I am in hopes that I shall see more of you at Castle Dracula." I suspected him and determined to test his sincerity. Sincerity, it seems, like a profanation of the word, to write it in connection with such a monster, so I asked him point blank, why may I not go tonight? "Because, dear sir, my coachman and horses are away on a mission." "But I would walk with pleasure. I want to go away at once." He smiled. Such a soft, smooth, diabolical smile. You know that word diabolical? I think, it comes from the same word as devil. So that's evil. Something diabolical is something evil. He smiled such a soft, smooth, diabolical smile that I knew that there was some trick behind his smoothness. And he said, "And your baggage?" "I don't care about it. I can send for it some other time." The Count stood up and said, with a sweet courtesy which made me rub my eyes, it seemed so real, "You English have a saying which is close to my heart, for its spirit is that which rules our boyars." That's the second time that word has appeared, boyars. I have no idea what that is. Let me just check. Members of the highest rank of a feudal nobility in various Eastern European countries, notably Russia, Bulgaria, and Romania. Okay. So he's just saying that the English have an expression which is very similar to an expression that we have. Let's just say that. You English have a saying which is very close to my heart. For its spirit is that which rules our boyars. So the ruling class of Transylvania uh, admire this expression because it resembles their own behavior, or it expresses their own thoughts, which is welcome the coming, speed the parting guest. Come with me, my dear young friend. Not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will, though sad am I at your going, and that you so suddenly desire it. Come. And with a stately gravity, he with the lamp preceded me down the stairs and along the hall, and suddenly he stopped. Hark! Hark means listen. Pay attention. Close at hand came the howling of the wolves, howling, "Oh!" It was almost as if the sound sprang up at the rising of his hand, just as the music of the great orchestra seemed to leap under the baton of a conductor. After a pause of a moment, he proceeded, in his stately way, to the door, drew back the ponderous bolts, unhooked the heavy chains, and began to draw it open. To my intense astonishment, I saw that it was unlocked. Suspiciously, I looked all around, but could see no key of any kind. As the door began to open, the howling of the wolves without the howling, they keep using the word without here to mean outside, or maybe outside of the castle grounds. It's throwing me off because I wish he would just say outside, but here without means outside. Let me read it again. As the door began to open, the howling of the wolves without, meaning outside, grew louder and angrier. Their red jaws with champing teeth and their blunt clawed feet as they leaped came in through the opening door. I knew then that to struggle at wait, this is a weird sentence. I knew then, I think this is a mistake, a misprint. I knew then that to struggle at the moment against the Count was useless. I think that's supposed to be then. I knew then that to struggle at the moment against the Count was useless. With such allies as these at his command, I could do nothing. But still the door continued slowly to open, and only the Count's body stood at the gap. And suddenly it struck me that this might be the moment and means of my doom. So he thinks the wolves are going to attack him and eat him. I was to be given to the wolves, and at my own instigation. When you say to instigate something, it means you're the cause. You started it. So, he's insisting, I want to leave. So the Count says, go ahead. And so now he's about to leave, but all these wolves are out there howling. Oh, and now he's thinking, oh, this is how I'm going to die, and it's my fault because I insisted to leave now. There was a diabolical wickedness in the idea great enough for the Count, and as the last chance I cried out, shut the door, I shall wait till morning. And I covered my face with my hands to hide my tears of bitter disappointment. With one sweep of his powerful arm, the Count threw the door shut, and the great bolts clanged and echoed through the hall as they shot back into their places. In silence, we returned to the library, and after a minute or two, I went to my own room. The last I saw of Count Dracula was his kissing his hand to me. That doesn't make any sense. With a red light of triumph in his eyes, and with a smile that Judas in hell might be proud of. When I was in my room and about to lie down, I thought I heard a whispering at my door. I went to it softly and listened. Unless my ears deceived me, I heard the voice of the Count. Back, back to your own place. Your time is not yet come. Wait. Have patience. Tonight is mine. Tomorrow night is yours. There was a low, sweet ripple of laughter. You know, if you throw a stone into the water, and then you see all the little circles that the stone creates, those are ripples. So ripple of laughter, I'm guessing, would be like something like that. You know, little bumpy laughter. Sweet ripple of laughter. In a rage, I threw open the door and saw without, there's that word without again, meaning outside, and saw without the three terrible women licking their lips as I appeared. They all joined in a horrible laugh and ran away. Python, how do you say that? I remember you, Antonio Montana. You're actually from Turkey, right? Although you have a Spanish-sounding name. I can't. How do you say your name? Pythonicness? Pythonicness? I came back to my room, and I think I'm getting. Are we getting close to the end of this chapter? I can't. Okay, we've got like maybe how many pages left? About 10 pages. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if Pachu is here. Pachu, are you here? Because I haven't seen you. Normally, I've been doing pronunciation practice with someone. I don't think he's here today. So, if anybody wants to do some pronunciation practice or reading practice when I finish, let me know, and we can do it on. Well, I'll open up Discord, and you can join, and then we can practice at the end of the video, which is coming up. So if somebody wants to do it, let me know. There was a low, sweet ripple of laughter, and in a rage... Oh, wait. We already read that. Okay. I came back to my room and threw myself on my knees. It is then so near the end. Tomorrow, tomorrow, Lord, help me, and those to whom I am dear. 30th of June. These may be the last words I ever write in this diary. I slept till just before the dawn, and when I woke, threw myself on my knees, for I determined that if death came, he should find me ready. At last I felt that subtle change in the air, and I knew that the morning had come. Then came the welcome cockcrow. Cockcrow. And I felt that I was safe, with a glad heart. I opened the door and ran down the hall. I had seen that the door was unlocked, and now escape was before me. With hands that trembled, with eagerness, I unhooked the chains and threw back the massive bolts. Oh, Pachu is here. Hi, Pachu. But the door would not move. Despair seized me. When you seize something, you take it with force. So despair means hopelessness, feeling no hope. So the feeling of no hope took me. I pulled and pulled at the door and shook it till, massive as it was, it rattled in its casement. I could see the bolt shot. It had been locked after I left the Count. Then a wild desire took me to obtain the key at any risk, and I determined then and there to scale the wall again and gain the Count's room. He might kill me, but death now seemed the happier choice of evils. Without a pause, I rushed up to the east window and scrambled down the wall as before into the Count's room. It was empty, but that was as I expected. I could not see a key anywhere. The heap of gold remained. I went through the door in the corner and down the winding stair and along the dark passage to the old chapel. I now knew well enough where to find the monster I sought. Sought is the past of seek. Seek, sought, sought. The great box was in the same place, close against the wall, but the lid was laid on it, not fastened down, but with the nails ready in their places to be hammered home. I knew I must reach the body for the key, so I raised the lid and laid it back against the wall. And then I saw something which filled my very soul with horror. There lay the Count, but looking as if his youth had been half restored. For the white hair and mustache were changed to dark iron gray. The cheeks were fuller, and the white skin seemed ruby red underneath. The mouth was redder than ever, for one of the lips were gouts of fresh blood, which trickled from the corners of the mouth. Trickling is like slow moving water. Trickle, 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 trickle. So there was blood trickling from his mouth. The mouth was redder than before, for on the lips were gouts of fresh blood which trickled from the corners of the mouth and ran down over the chin and neck. Even the deep burning eyes seemed set amongst swollen flesh, for the lids and pouches underneath were bloated. Bloated means like fat. Usually fat because of, imagine if you eat too much food, like I did today, then you feel bloated. It's kind of an artificial fat. Usually because of water or food. If you eat too much food, then you feel bloated. You feel fat. It seemed as if the whole awful creature was simply gorged with blood. He lay like a filthy leech, exhausted with his repletion. I shuddered. Shuddering is like this. Ugh. I shuddered as I bent over to touch him, and every sense in me revolted at the contact. But I had to search, or I was lost. The coming night might see my own body, a banquet in a similar war. A banquet is like a party of food. Like, imagine like a big table full of food for a party or a celebration. That's a banquet. Pachu says shuddered. Yeah, shuddered is ugh. I felt over the body, but no sign could I find of the key. Then I stopped and looked at the Count, and there was a mocking smile on his bloated face which seemed to drive me mad. This was the being I was helping to transfer to London, where perhaps for centuries to come he might amongst its teeming millions satiate his lust for blood and create new and ever-widening circle of semi-demons to batten on the helpless. The very thought drove me mad. A terrible desire came upon me to rid the world of such a monster. There was no lethal weapon at hand, but I seized a shovel, which the workmen had been using to fill the cases, and lifting it high, struck with the edge downward at the hateful face. But as I did so, the head turned, and the eyes fell upon me, with all their blaze of basilisk horror. The sight seemed to paralyze me, and the shovel turned in my hand and glanced from the face, merely making a deep gash above the forehead. The shovel fell from my hand across the box, and as I pulled it away, the flange of the blade caught the edge of the lid, which fell over again. Pachu was asking about the word shovel. Let me show you a shovel. This is a shovel. So he took a shovel and he tried to hit the count with it, but when he did that, the count turned, and I'm kind of confused about what happened, but it was unsuccessful. A gash is it's like breaking the skin. Okay, we're going to look at pictures of gashes. If you don't like blood, then don't look at the pictures I'm about to show you. I'm just warning you, because it ain't pretty. So these are gashes. The last glimpse I had was of the bloated face, blood-stained and fixed with a grin of malice. Oh, Pacha, do you remember earlier we were talking about, what was the word that it was? Something with mal earlier today. And I told you that always, a lot of times when you see that in front of a word, that root means evil or bad. And here we have it again, malice, which means evil, or wanting to hurt people, of wanting to do bad things to people. So he had a grin of malice, which would have held its own in the nethermost hell. I thought and thought, what should my next move? What should be my next move? But my brain seemed on fire, and I waited with a despairing feeling growing over me. Remember, despair means no hope. So when you despair, you're experiencing hopelessness. A despairing feeling growing over me. As I waited, I heard in the distance a gypsy song, sung by the merry voices coming closer, and through their song the rolling of heavy wheels and the cracking of whips. Sgani and the Slovaks, of whom the Count had spoken, were coming. With a last look around at the box which contained the vile body — vile means disgusting — I ran from the place and gained the Count's room, determined to rush out at the moment the door should be opened. With strained ears I listened and heard downstairs the grinding of a key in the great lock and the falling back of the heavy door. There must have been some other means of entry, or someone had a key for one of the locked doors. Pachu is asking about look around. Well, that's very literal. That's just checking. That's looking around. Then there came the sound of many feet, tramping and dying away in some passage, which sent up a clanging echo. Clanging is the sound of metal, two pieces of metal hitting each other. I turned to run it down again towards the vault where I might find the new entrance. But at the moment there seemed to come a violent puff of wind. Puff is pff, pff. If you smoke a cigarette, you have a puff on a cigarette. Pachu is asking about the word tramping. Well, tramping is just the sound of heavy feet. So, but it's a heavy sound. It's a big sound. It's not just walking. But at the moment there seemed to come a violent puff of wind, and the door to the winding stair blew to with a shock. What? Wait, let's read that again. At the moment there seemed to come a violent puff of wind, and the door to the winding stair blew to with a shock. That must be a misprint. Something wrong with that. Blew to with a shock that set the dust from the lintels flying. When I ran to push it open, I found that it was hopelessly fast. I was again a prisoner, and the net of doom was closing round me more closely. As I write, there is in the passage below a sound of many tramping feet. So again, you hear the heavy stepping. and the crash of weights being set down heavily, doubtless the boxes with their freight of earth. There was a sound of hammering. It is the box being nailed down. Now I can hear the heavy feet tramping again along the hall, with many other idle feet coming behind them. The door is shut and the chains rattle. There's a grinding of the key. There's a grinding of the key in the lock. I can hear the key withdrawn. Then another door opens and shuts, and I hear the creaking of the lock. Creaking is like and bolt. Hark. So remember, hark means listen, pay attention. Hark. In the courtyard and down the rocky way, the roll of heavy wheels, the crack of whips, and the chorus of Zgeni as they pass into the distance. I'm alone in the castle with those horrible women. Foe. I have no idea what that means. Foe. Let's see if ChatGPT knows. Pachu is saying, can you say where the conversation is taking place? But there is no conversation. Wait, let's see. Foe is an old-fashioned exclamation used to express disgust, contempt, or strong disapproval. There is no conversation. He's trying to escape from the castle because he thinks he's going to be murdered. And he was trying to find keys so that he could leave. And then some workers who were helping to ship the Count to England came, and he ran away. So he's just hiding in his room or in some room listening to them working. And what the workers did was they nailed the coffin shut of the Count, and they took him and put him in a carriage and then drove away. And now he's frightened because he's alone in the castle with the 3 scary ghost women. I'm all alone in the castle with those horrible women. Foe! Mina is a woman, and there is naught in common. They are devils of the pit. I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale the castle wall. Farther than I have yet attempted. I shall take some of the gold with me, lest I want it later. I may find a way from this dreadful place. And then away for home. Away to the quickest and nearest train. Away from the cursed spot. From this cursed land where the devil and his children still walk with earthly feet. PP says hello. Hi, PP. Thanks for joining. At least God's mercy is better than that of those monsters. And the precipice is steep and high. At its foot, a man may sleep as a man. Goodbye, all. Mina. Okay, well, that was the end of chapter 4. So, Pachu, would you like to practice again? Do you want to practice pronunciation again? Are you up for it? Let me know in the chat if you would like to do that. And let's see. Okay, so Pachu is going to join us now on Discord, and we are going to practice pronunciation for about an hour. So PP says it's 3:48 a.m. right now. What are you doing up so early, PP? That's pretty early in the morning. I wake up that early all the time, but I'm weird. Okay, so for the next hour, what we're going to do is we're going to practice pronunciation in detail. Mostly vowel sounds, that seems to be where the big problems lie, but also other sounds as well. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 1-minute break, okay? And when I return, we are going to start pronunciation practice. So let me get my Be Right Back screen, and I'll be right back. All right. Thank you for waiting. PP says the music reminds you of the 60s. Oh, I think it reminds me of the 30s, 1930s or 1940s, maybe not the 60s. Oh, let's see. I've got to turn off the music now. That was my Halloween music. Okay. All right, so I'm going to call Pachu right now on Discord, and we are going to practice pronunciation for about an hour. Let's see.
Hello,
Hello.
sir.
How are you doing? How are you doing? Did you have a nice sleep?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I am doing good, sir.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. Okay. Well, let's get started. Can you see do you see the screen? Do you see the sentence, I shall not remain alone? Can you see that?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Can you read that first sentence?
Okay, sir. I shall not remain alone with them.
Okay. How do you pronounce that second word? Can you pronounce that second word for me?
Uh,
So I,
shall, shall,
okay, but remember you've got to
I,
raise your tongue up. Shall,
shall, shall,
shall,
shall,
shall. Let the air pass over the top of your tongue. A little shall,
shall,
shall.
shall,
So the air is coming up. Shall,
shall,
shall.
shall,
Say I shall.
I shall,
I
I shall,
shall. You got to push your tongue up more if you really want to pronounce that sound well.
I shall, I shall, I shall,
Shall. Push up. Make sure your
I
tongue is pushed
shall,
up like this, and then the air passes over.
I shall, I shall,
What do you think about that word I?
I shall.
Is that a big sound? I? Is that a big sound or a little sound? I.
Um, I is a big sound.
Okay. How about shall? Is that a big sound or a little sound? Shall.
It's a big
Alone it's big.
sa.
If it's alone it's big, but
Yeah,
you know these words like can and shall, they become very small sometimes in a sentence. Uh,
very small.
so
Yeah,
in a regular sentence, if you say I can, most people would pronounce that I can, I can, I can.
icon, icon. Yeah,
There's
icon,
there's
icon.
no vowel sound. It's just can. I can, I can,
Can,
I shall,
icon,
I shall,
icon.
I shall,
I solve,
I
I
shall not,
solve,
I
I
shall not,
solve.
I shall not.
I shall, I shall not, I
Yeah.
shall not.
How about not? Is that big or small?
Big,
Okay, it is big. I shall not.
I shall not, I shall not.
Okay, how about the word remain? What do you think about those sounds? Remain. Just tell me about the vowel sounds. Are those big sounds or small sounds? Remain.
Remain, remain. Re, short, man. Man is long. Remain.
So now we have our perfect big, small, big, small, big, small rhythm. I shall not remain. I shall not remain.
I shall not remain.
I shall not
I
remain.
shall not remain.
Okay. I'm going to put two words up on the screen. Okay. Let me know when you can see the two words. There's a little delay, so it always takes about 30 seconds before the word appears on the screen. Can you see the two words?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I am seeing.
How do you say number one?
Is men, men,
Men. Men.
men.
Hmm. And how do you say number two?
Is men, is men.
Okay, so those sound very similar to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say number
Yes.
one. I'm going to say number one very slowly, and I want you to tell me how many sounds do you hear in the middle of the word? Man, man. How many sounds in the middle?
Two,
It's just one. Man,
two.
man. Number one is only one sound. Meh, eh, man, man,
Man. Eh,
man,
okay. Men. A
man.
man.
Now, if I say number two, I'm going to say number two very slowly, and I want you to listen to how many sounds are in the middle. Main, main.
Two.
Two sounds. What are the two
Me
sounds?
in.
Main is two sounds. Is
A.
main. Mm-hmm.
A. A.
Main.
Main.
Mm-hmm. Say
Main.
number.
Main.
Say number one.
Is men. Is
Men.
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 Men. Say number two.
Main.
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 Main. Main.
Main. Main.
I shall not remain.
I shall not remain
Mm-hmm. Now, the final word in that sentence, alone. Alone. What do you think about the vowel sounds in that word?
big alone
Alone.
alone
The first sound
alone
is the first vowel sound big or small? Alone. Is the first vowel sound big or small? Alone.
alone
Alone.
short
It's short. It's short.
short
And how about the second sound? Alone.
long is
Is
long long
Alone. It's long. It's
alone,
so
alone.
this has the perfect big small big small big small rhythm that English likes. That it's exactly each syllable. It goes from big to small, big to small, big to small. I shall not remain
Yeah.
alone.
I shall not remain alone.
I shall not remain alone. Now, what about that word with?
With, with, along,
With,
with.
with. Okay. PP is asking, is merely means only? Merely does mean something very similar to only. It's a little bit different. It has a little bit of a special meaning because the emphasis is on, uh,
With,
it just means like
with,
only one thing that I did.
alone,
Okay. So if you say, uh,
alone.
wait, let's see. I just want to, I confuse myself when I talk about the word merely. I only studied. I merely studied. I'm trying to make this smaller so that it fits on the screen. Uh-oh, that's me. Wait, make this a little bit smaller. Okay. So if you say I only studied, they both mean that I only did one. It means I did one thing, but the difference is when you say number two, it means it was the only necessary thing to do. So uh, maybe it's better not to use studied. I only said, oh, I did a video about this. I have a video about merely, but it confuses me when I have to try to explain it. It means, gosh, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to help me because I confuse myself.
Merely, yes, merely.
When you use
Merely.
merely, it makes it sound easy or unimportant or not so complicated. So, how did you pass the test? It was so difficult. I merely studied. It's that simple. So there's this idea of simplicity with merely that does not exist with only. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay.
Yeah, I shall. I
I
shall.
shall not remain alone. Okay, so we're talking about the word with. Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you say? Did you say that was big or small?
With,
With.
with
With.
is big,
Well, it is a
but in
combination of sounds.
sentence,
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
but in sentence, it is small.
It would
With
want to be
big,
small. It would want to be small, especially because we have alone with alone because we
yeah,
have small big small
big, small.
alone with
Yeah.
alone with them.
Alone with them.
Mm.
Alone with them.
Yeah, so we'll make them a little
Alone with them.
bigger just to keep the rhythm.
Yeah,
I shall not remain
rhythm. Yeah.
alone with them.
I shall not remain alone with them.
Mhm.
With them.
With them, I shall not remain alone with them.
I shall not remain alone with them. Them.
Can you read the next three words in the next sentence? What are the next three words?
Uh, I shall try. I shall try.
So, what do you think? Again, we have I shall. What would be the pattern? Is that small, big, or big, small? What is that?
Yeah, big, small, big, small,
Hmm.
big, small. Yeah,
Okay. So, what about the word try? Is that a big word? Is that a big vowel sound or a small vowel sound? Try.
big, try,
Okay.
big.
So, how will you read the first three words?
I shall try.
Okay. But
I shall try.
Okay, but now you're saying try, but that doesn't sound very big to me. I wish you would make it bigger. I shall try.
Okay, sir. I shall try.
Hmm.
I I shall try.
Yeah, remember big, small, big, small. Okay, I shall try. How about the word
Oh,
to? Is that a big word or is that ooh a big sound or a little sound?
a little sound.
Oh,
A
well,
to,
actually,
to, to,
if it's alone, yes, it's a big sound. It's a big sound. To.
to,
But here, a lot of times in the middle of the
to.
sentence, it's going to be very small, especially because we want our pattern of big, small, big, small. So this will be I shall try to. I shall try to.
I I shall try. I shall try.
I shall try to. PP is asking, is shall and will the same? Well, it's better if you don't use the word shall. It's better. I mean, you can use it for suggestions. Shall we go? Shall we have lunch? Shall we watch a movie? It's good for suggestions and a question. But aside from that, I wouldn't use it because it's a very strong word. It's similar to uh, will, but it's a much stronger word, and they use it in the UK, but usually if it's not really used very much in North America. But they use it in the UK, but even then they only use it when they're talking about themselves. They don't really use it to talk about other people. And the thing that I always indicate to people is, if you read the Bible, that's how God talks to you. You shall do this. You shall do that, because it's very strong. It's an order that you can't question. So that's but normal people don't really use shall. That would sound very bossy to talk to people that way. But it's okay. Like PP is saying, shall we? Yes, that's okay. That's a nice way to make a suggestion. Shall we go? So if you're doing it in a question form, it's a nice way to make a suggestion. But apart from that, I wouldn't use it in a sentence. It's too strong. Okay. So I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to. I shall try to. Can you read that, Pachu?
Sir. I shall not remain alone with them. With them,
With
I
them.
shall try to escape.
Hmm. Okay, what does that mean to scale? Do you know what that means to scale?
Yes, scale means grow in size.
Scale means to climb. So you could
Ca-
uh, Pachu, you could scale Mount Everest. Right? Did you ever scale
Yes.
Mount Everest?
No.
No. But you could because you live in Nepal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. One day I'll try.
One day
But
one day you'll try to
mm,
scale Mount Everest. Okay. Listen, is that a long sound? Is that vowel sound in that word long? Scale.
a long
Okay. Uh,
scale.
Well, now listen, I'm going to say it very slowly. I'm going to say that word very slowly, and you tell me how many vowel sounds do you actually hear in that word? Scale. How many sounds are in there? How many sounds in the middle of that word?
A L is three.
It's three. It's very big. Scale.
Scale.
I shall try to
Scale.
scale. I shall try to scale.
I shall try to scale.
Uh, I'm just
Scale.
going to put up two words here.
Scale.
It's really important to say all of those
Scale.
sounds, because if you don't say all of the sounds, it could sound like a different word. That's why it's kind of important. So I'm just putting two words up on the screen. Let me know when you can see the two words that I have. PP is saying, doesn't scale mean weight? scale as a noun is where you can find the weight. So while we're waiting for my image to appear in the video, let's take a look at scale as a noun.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Uh,
Yes, I see.
okay, I'm just going to put up a picture of a scale. This is a scale. This is scale as a noun. Whoops. See, that's a scale. Scale, scale, scale. But to scale as a verb means to climb. Okay. So, Pachu, can you say number one? How do you pronounce number one?
It's a skill.
Skill,
Skill.
skill, skill, skill. How many sound? Is that a big sound or a
Skill.
little sound in number one? Skill.
Short.
It's a little sound.
Skill.
Skill. It's I. It's just I. Skill. Skill. Say number one.
Ill.
Skill.
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 So, but when you say number two, that's is that a big sound or a little sound in number two?
Big.
It is big. Say, and how many sounds are in number two?
Is three. Scale.
Scale.
Scale. K-E-L.
Scale.
K-E-L.
Scale.
Scale. Scale.
Yeah. I'm not hearing. I need more I. I need to hear the I part. Scale.
Yes.
Oh. Say it again.
Scale.
Scale. I.
Scale.
Oh.
Scale.
I. Oh. Scale.
Scale.
That was good. That was a
Scale.
good one. That was a good one. Okay. All right. Let's go back to this. So, I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale. Can you say the whole phrase?
So text is not there, sir.
Oh, sorry. I forgot there's a delay. PP wants to.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes, of course, PP. You can ask questions whenever you like. Go ahead. Ask any question you want. It's fine.
Sir.
Is it?
I shall not remain alone with them.
Mm-hmm. I shall try to scale.
I, s- uh, I shall try to scale, scale,
Scale.
scale,
What about the? Scale.
scale,
You say scale the? Scale the? Scale the?
scale
Is
the,
that a big sound?
scale the,
Is that vowel sound? Is that a big vowel sound or a little vowel sound? The. The. Scale the.
short.
It's very short, yeah. I shall try to scale the.
I I shall try to scale the. I
Not
shall
skill.
try.
Not
I
skill.
shall try.
Scale.
I shall try to scale the scale, scale,
Scale the. How about castle? Castle. What do you think about that sound?
castle, castle, along,
Okay, there's
castle,
yeah. Scale the castle. Scale the castle.
scale the castle, scale the castle.
And then what about the final word here? Wall. Is that a big sound or a little sound? Wall.
It's a big,
Yeah, it's
it's a
big.
big
Cat.
wall,
Try say that again.
wall. It's
Okay.
wall.
I'm going to say the word very slowly and think about all the vowel sounds that I'm saying. Wall. How many sounds are there? How many vowel sounds do you hear? Whoa.
Two. Wall.
Three.
Wall.
Whoa.
U.
Wow. Wow.
O. U. A. O. U. A. O.
Whoa.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Three.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wow.
Then make sure you're saying an L at the end. Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Scale the castle wall.
Scale. Scale the castle. Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Can you say ooh oh ooh oh ooh oh?
U. U. O. U. O.
Okay, but when you when you say the L, you have to really push down so that I can hear the L. Oh,
Ul.
oh,
Ul.
ooh oh
Ul.
ooh oh ooh oh.
U. Ul. U. Ul. U.
Wah
Ul.
ooh oh.
U. Ul. U.
Wah
Ul.
ooh oh. Can you say that? Wah ooh oh.
Wa. U. Ul.
Whoa.
Wall. Wall.
That's pretty good. That's getting better. PP is saying, uh, he says, say wow and then put an L. Wow, oh. That's pretty good. Yeah. Say wow and then put an O. But you're missing the ooh if you just say wow. It has to be wow, oh. There's an at the end. PP says, why do people say all the way down, like down the street? Or wait, what does it mean down in someone speaking all the way down? Oh, well, I think if you're talking, I think you would have to. Can you give a full sentence? Write that in a full sentence instead of just saying all the way down. Make a full sentence. All the way down where? Uh, okay. So I shall try to scale the castle wall. Can you try to say the whole sentence or the whole phrase?
I shall try to scale the castle wall. The wall.
Uh huh. I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale the castle wall.
I shall not remain alone with them.
I shall. Uh oh. Have you disappeared? Oh,
Yes,
you're
sir. No, sir.
okay. Just checking.
Yes.
All right. Can you read the next? Read the rest of the sentence from farther to attempted.
Farther than I have attempted.
Okay. Farther. Farther. How many vowels
Farther.
are those? Big vowel sounds or little vowel sounds? Farther. Farther.
Big.
Both?
Big.
Are they both big? Farther.
Farther. Farther is last is small.
That's right.
Far,
Farther. How about then? Farther than. Farther than. Farther than.
farther than. Farther than. Farther than.
Mhm.
Than is long.
Okay, it is long. If you say that word alone and just isolated, it could be very long. Then, but
Than.
what do you think about in this phrase? Do you think that that would be a word that you would want to say in a very big way? Then, farther than.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is it big or
Why?
small?
Because yeah, big. Because I think it is the comparison. So I make sure that then should be clear.
Okay, so you think it's very important to pronounce the word than.
Yeah.
Okay. Farther than. Okay, let's try that. What is the next word?
Farther than Ahab.
Okay.
Ahab.
Farther than I. And how about that word I? Is that a big one? Is that a big word also?
No,
No.
there's no point.
Farther than I.
No.
Farther than I. How about have? Is that a big word?
It is a small. Ahab. Ahab.
Uh,
I have
how about yet?
attempted. At is long. At. At is also clear.
Oh,
Should be
let's.
clear.
Let's. Okay, I'm going to put something up on the screen for you. Okay. PP is saying
Yes.
examples of all the way down. Well, you know what? For I think number one, because I'm a little bit confused by your question. I'm not sure what you're asking, but when you're giving directions, if you're telling someone directions, go to this place, go to that place, you will usually use the word up or down, and it doesn't matter which word that you use. Okay, so where is the closest cafe? Oh, there's a cafe up the street. There's a cafe down the street. It doesn't matter if you say up or down. It's just a way of indicating follow this straight away. So walk up the road, walk down the road. It doesn't matter which one you say, it means the same thing. Okay, and then if you add the word, so it's just a way of indicating go straight, go direct. But we say up or down in that case. And if you add the phrase all the way, it's a way of indicating that it's kind of far. It's a little bit far. So go all the way up the street. That just means follow directly, follow straight, don't turn, go directly, but it's a little bit long because you're saying all the way. Or uh, go all the way down the street. That adding all the way just means it's going to be far. Oh, PP is saying all the way down is confused about the word down as means under or below. All well, think about just the preposition up or down is a way of saying go straight. That's all it means. It means you have to go straight. You have to go directly. Okay, that's what up or down means when you're talking about directions. It doesn't mean up or down, it means direct. And all the way just means it's going to be far. So go all the way up the street. So don't turn, go straight up the street, and all the way means it's far. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Pachu, can you see the two words that I have written on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
How do you say number one?
It's at.
At. Okay.
At.
How do you say number two?
Is at.
Okay.
At.
But this number two starts with a Y sound. And the way that you make it is you're going to pull your tongue back like this. So here's the top of your mouth, and your tongue will go like this. Yet. It won't touch. Yet.
Yet.
That was good.
Y-
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
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 So say number one again.
At.
Okay.
At.
Now, I'm going to say number one, and I want you to think about all of the sounds that I say in the beginning. Ayat. Ayat. How many sounds do you hear?
A. Two. A. E.
Three. I hear
A.
three. I hear three.
Three. Three. Three.
Ayat. 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 Ayat.
Hmm.
Say number one.
A. At.
Say number one.
A. At.
At. At.
A.
That's pretty good.
Yet.
At. 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 How do you say number two?
A- eight.
Say number two.
Yet.
Now remember,
Yet.
your tongue will have to go like this. Your tongue will be like this. This is the top of your mouth. Here's your tongue is like this.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yet.
That's good. That's good.
Yet.
That's very good.
This means in case of second, the tongue goes behind the mouth. But in case of at,
Mm-hmm.
the tongue is at the front of the mouth.
Well, let me see.
Yes.
At. Well, your tongue does go up a little bit in the middle of number one. Ayat, like that. Ayat.
A yeah.
You feel that
Yeah.
middle? It does go up a little bit.
Yet.
At.
At.
That's good.
Yet.
That sounds
Yes.
very good. That was very nice. Say number two.
Yeah. It's uh, eight.
Yeah, look,
Eight.
if your tongue is going up here, the top of your mouth. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And now I feel difference
mm,
between these. The position of tongue,
yeah.
especially
Say number two.
uh, a eight, eight,
You got to
eight,
push your tongue has got to be up here at the back of your mouth. Yet. Yet.
yet,
That was perfect.
yet,
Mm-hmm.
yet,
Yet.
yet,
Mm-hmm.
yet, yet.
PP says, "Excuse me, nature calls." Thank you for the information, PP. Okay. Uh,
Yet, yet,
yet. I have yet
yet.
attempted. I have yet attempted.
I have at attempted.
Uh, uh,
I
uh,
have
y-
at
yet. Yet. You've
attempted.
got to pull your tongue back. Yet.
Yet,
That was good. Yet
yet,
attempted. Say yet attempted.
yet attempted.
Perfect.
Yet attempted.
Okay. Attempted. Now, what do you think about the vowel sounds in that word? Attempted. Are they big sounds or little sounds?
Attempted.
Attempted. Are they big sounds or little sounds?
Initial is small.
Okay. And what,
Tempted is, I think, long.
okay, that's pretty big. It's a pretty big sound. And what about Ted at the end? Is that a big sound or a little sound?
Tempted is not big.
Okay, it's not big, it's small. Attempted. Can you say that word?
Attempted.
Okay.
Attempted.
I have yet attempted.
I have yet attempted.
Okay, and that was a really good yet that time. That was really good. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. I shall not remain alone with them.
I shall not remain alone with them.
I shall try to scale the castle wall farther than I have yet attempted.
I shall try to scale up the castle wall further than I have attempted.
Uh-oh. Try
At
again.
attempted.
Try to say yet again. Yet. Remember that your tongue goes back like this. Yet. Yet.
Yet.
That's good. That's a
Yet.
very good yet. I have yet
Yet.
attempted.
Yet attempted.
Mm-hmm.
Yet attempted.
Okay. And let's read the next phrase up to with me. Can you read that phrase? I shall take some.
I shall take some of the gold with me.
Okay. All right. So this is pretty easy because we keep having the phrase I shall. Uh,
Yeah.
I shall take. Let's do this. We'll make big, small, big. Okay, take. That's a big
Yes, take.
sound. I I
Big
will
sound.
take. Can you say it like that?
I shall take.
Okay.
I shall take. I
Okay.
shall take.
Now I'm going to say the word take very slowly, and I want you to think about the vowel sound. How many sounds do you hear in the middle of that word? Take, take. How many sounds do you hear? Take.
Hey, two.
Two. What are the two sounds that you hear?
Hey,
A, A,
hey,
A. Can
hey.
you say the word take?
Tay, tay,
Take.
tay.
Say eek. Tell me eek.
Ik,
Take,
ik,
take,
take, take.
take. I shall take.
I shall take.
What are the next
Take.
three words? Can you read the next three words?
Uh, some of the gold.
Okay.
Some of the gold.
Some of the, some of the, some of the, some of the.
Some of the.
What do you think about
Some of the.
some? Is that a big vowel sound? Some or a little vowel sound?
Yeah, big.
Okay.
Big.
What about other? Other. Is that big or small? Are
Yeah,
those vowel sounds
yeah.
big or small? Other.
It's small, small,
Some.
small, small.
Some of the. Some of the.
Some of the. Some of the.
I shall take.
Some of the.
I shall take some of the. I shall take some of the.
I shall take some of the. I shall take some of the.
Take. Two sounds. There are two sounds in that word. Take.
Okay.
Take.
Take, take,
I shall take some
ik,
of the.
take.
I shall take some of the.
I shall, I shall take some of the. I shall take some of the.
What is?
Take some of the.
And what is the next word? Can you read the next word?
So, lest I want it later.
What? No, the next word. I shall take some of the what?
Mm. I shall take some of the gold with me.
Okay. What is that word?
Some of
What will he take?
take some of the gold with me.
Okay, say that word again. Gold.
It's gold. It's
Okay.
gold.
I'm going
It's
to
gold.
I'm going to say it I'm going to say it very slowly, and you tell me how many sounds do you hear in the middle of that word? Gold. Oh. Oh. How many?
O U all three.
Three.
O U all
Gold.
gold.
That's good.
O U
Gold.
all.
Gold. Is that a big sound or a little sound?
It's a big sound. Gold.
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 Uh, some of the gold.
Some of the gold.
I shall take
Gold.
gold.
I shall take some of the gold.
Okay.
Gold.
Now, how
Old.
about the last two words? With me. With me. How are the vowel sounds? Are they big sounds or little sounds? With me.
We is big. Me short.
With
With
me.
me.
With
With
me.
me.
With me.
With me.
Which
With
one? Which
me.
one is big and which one is little? With me.
No, but I think with is small. With me is
Yeah,
taking more time
that's
to
right.
pronounce. Yeah,
That's right. So gold with me.
gold with me.
I
Me.
some of the gold with me.
I shall take some of the gold with me.
Okay. And then what is the final phrase in that sentence?
Lest I want it later.
Okay. Uh, lest. Lest. Do you know that word? Do
Lest.
you know that word? Lest.
List is the old kind of word. I but I do not use this word.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah,
You ever
actually.
seen it?
Yes,
What does
yes.
it mean? What does
But I
it mean? Do you know?
list is some kind of it
Some kind of what?
yet.
Yeah.
White yet.
Well, okay. Wait, just one second. PP says, "Is there any difference between academic English in general and can I speak academic English to people in the street?" Well, you could, and most people will probably understand you if you speak academic English, but it won't sound very nice or friendly. You'll sound like a robot. So, and people probably won't like it very much if you talk like that. It's better to use simple words most of the time when you're having a conversation with people. And you can leave the academic language for school. People don't like it. It doesn't sound friendly. So you can, and people will probably understand you, but you won't make a lot of friends
Yes,
that way.
list,
Okay, let's see.
list.
Lest lest is a signal that you put in front of something you're afraid of. So
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like I say, Pachu, you have to practice your pronunciation lest people don't understand you. You
Okay.
you
Yes,
name the
I
thing
understood. Yeah.
you name the thing that you're afraid of, the thing you don't want to
Yes.
happen. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. I
It's
got it. Yeah.
but it's not an extremely common word. Okay, people don't use it very much, but you could. It would be okay to use it. It's not weird. All right, so
Understood.
so Jonathan is escaping from the castle and he's saying, "Oh, I'm going to take some gold because I'm afraid I will need it later." Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Because
Yes.
he has to buy a ticket to go home and he needs food and he's afraid he won't have any money for things he needs. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what do you think about that vowel sound in the word lest? Is that a big sound or a little sound? Lest.
Uh, l- last. Last.
Mm-hmm. Is that a
Yeah. Long.
it's pretty long. That's a pretty big sound. How about the next three words? Can you read the next three words?
I want it later. I want it later.
I want it. I want it. I want it. I want.
I want it.
What do you think about the vowel
I
sound?
want it.
Want it. I want it.
Yes. The long. Is,
Which one is long? Because there are three vowel sounds, maybe even more, but let's just say three. I want it. Tell me which ones are long
um.
or short.
I. I is also long, but
Okay.
want is long.
Okay. How about it?
Want.
How about it?
It is small.
Yeah, it's
It.
small. I want it. Can you say that? I want it.
I want it.
Okay.
I want it.
So with my accent, I don't pronounce the T at the end of want. Maybe you noticed that. It's okay to say tit,
Yeah.
want. So you can say, I want it. You can say it like that if you want. But with my accent, I don't pronounce that T. And I say,
Yes. Yeah. I know.
want it.
I
Lest,
want it.
lest I want it.
Last I
Uh
want it.
oh. Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
Last I want it.
Okay.
Want it.
And what do you think about that word later? Later. Are those big sounds or little vowel sounds? Later.
Later. Big. Later.
Mm-hmm.
Later.
And what about so which one is big? The first one or the second? The first vowel sound or the second vowel sound?
First, later,
Lay.
later.
Pretty big. What about der? Is that a big sound or a little sound?
Yeah, it is small.
Later.
Uh, mm,
Later.
later,
Okay. Lest I want it later.
mm, l- later,
Lest I want it later.
lest I want it later, later.
Let's see. I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale the castle wall farther than I have yet attempted. Can you read that?
I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale the castle wall further than I have attempted.
Okay, try to say yet again. Remember that your tongue you pull your tongue back. Yet. Yet.
Yet,
Yeah, that's good. Try to read the sentence again. Yet.
yet.
I shall try to scale the castle wall farther than I have yet attempted. Say it again.
I shall try to scale the castle wall further than I have yet attempted.
That was a very, very good yet. Okay. I shall take some of the gold with me,
I shall take some of the gold with me,
lest I want it later.
lest I want it later.
Okay, and I'm just going to put two words up on the screen.
Okay.
Okay, let me know when you can see the two words that I have up here.
Okay, sir.
So I think, we'll just read this final sentence and then I think that's where we will finish for today. Okay.
Okay.
Can you see the two
Okay.
words that I have written on the screen?
Uh, yes. It is. It is on the way. Okay. Now I see them. Yeah,
Can you say number
I
one?
see them.
How do you pronounce number one?
Is late. Actually, I say later. Later.
That's number one?
Yes.
Okay.
Later.
Tell me again.
Later.
Letter. Letter. Okay. Do you know, can you, when you pronounce number one, try to eat. I know that sounds weird, but try to eat the E. Try to push it down more, like you're eating it. Letter. It should be going down into your throat more. Letter.
Ladder.
That's good.
Ladder.
Letter. You should feel it. It's kind of down here more than up here.
Yes.
Let
Yes. Down. Yeah.
letter.
Ladder. Yeah. Later.
And
Ladder.
number. How do you say number two?
Uh, ladder. Ladder.
Remember that number two has two sounds. Later.
Later. Lay. Two sound. Yeah. Lay.
Later.
Later. Later.
Number one is one sound. Letter, and you eat it. Letter. Letter.
Ladder.
Letter.
Ladder.
Uh,
Later.
is that a big sound or a small sound? Letter.
Small.
It's small. And how about number two? Is number two big or small? Later.
Uh, big.
It's big. Okay, so
Mm.
number one is only one sound and it's small and you eat it. Letter.
Yes. Later.
Letter.
Later.
Mhm.
Later.
And number two is a big sound. It's two sounds and you start to eat it and then you push it out. Later.
Later.
Mhm.
Later.
That was good. Say number one again.
Uh, later.
Uh, Try to
Later.
eat it more. You've got to eat it more. Number one, you have to eat it. Push it down.
Later,
Letter.
later,
Letter. You've got to feel it in your throat. Letter.
later,
That's good.
later
That was good. That was a good one. And number two, how do you say number two?
is later,
That's
is
good.
later.
Later. Later. Uh huh. Okay. All right. PP says it's better to put a little butter unless your food becomes bitter. I guess that's PP's tongue twister of the day. It's better to put a little butter unless your food becomes bitter. Okay. Uh, lest I want it later. Can you say that phrase again?
Mm, okay. Lest I want it later.
Not letter. It's not number one. It's number two. Later. You push
Okay.
down and then you push out. Later.
Okay. Lest lest I want it later.
That was
Later.
that was good. That was good. All right. Can you read the final sentence in the paragraph? What does it say?
Uh, I may find a way from this dreadful place.
Okay. I may find a. I may find a. Tell me about the vowel sounds in that phrase. I may find a. I may. I may. Are those big sounds or little sounds? I may.
I is big. I may short. I
Okay.
may. I may
Uh,
find is big.
do you say that may is short?
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
it should be pretty long. I may. I may. Bigger than I. I
I,
may.
yes. Yeah. May. Yeah. May bigger than I. I may.
Mhm.
I may.
I may. How about find? I may find. Is that a big sound?
Yes. And
I may find.
find.
I may find a. I may find a. What about Is
I
that big or small?
is small.
Okay. Can you read
Finder. Finder.
read those? So that's long, 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 short. I may find a.
I I may find a. I may find a.
PP,
Finder.
PP says, is it better to write I'd or I would? Well, everybody things are very informal these days. In the past, they would tell you you should never write a contraction like I'd. It's considered not very good. But I don't think people care anymore, so I don't think it matters. But if you feel like you want to be formal, I wouldn't write a contraction. Or if you're writing for something for school, I don't think that you should do that. But I guess people don't care anymore. That's what I understand. I may find. How about way? Way. Is that a big vowel sound or a little vowel sound?
Yes. Big.
It is.
Big. Way.
So that's a lot of big sounds in the beginning of that phrase. I may find a way.
I may find a way. I may find a way.
Okay, I may find
Way.
from this, from this, from this, from this. What do you think about those two vowel sounds? From this.
From this. From is short
Okay,
and this is long.
this,
From this.
this. I don't think this is long. I think it's pretty short. This, this, this. The S is a little bit long, but the I
Yes.
is just this, this,
Okay.
from this, from this.
From from this. Okay. Yeah. From is long.
Okay.
From this. From
Well,
this.
no, from
Yeah.
I don't think from is long either. I think it's just from this. It's just from this, from this, from this.
From this. From this. From this.
I may find a way from
Okay.
this.
Okay. I may find a way from this.
Okay.
From this.
So is May big or small? May.
is big.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
may.
yeah. That's better because the way I'm hearing you say it is like may. It's too short. It should be.
Yeah, short.
I
Yes,
I may
yes.
find a way, and that rhymes too. That's like music. I may find a way.
I may find a way.
Okay, from this. Now we have dreadful, dreadful. What do you think about the two vowel sound?
Dread,
Hmm.
yes, pretty big.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
dread,
The dread is very big. Dreadful.
dreadful, dread,
Hmm.
dreadful,
Dread.
dreadful,
Hmm. I may
dreadful,
I may
dread.
find a way from this dread. How about the word place? Place. Is that a big sound or a little sound?
It is also big. Place and the place.
Place is big. So can you say dreadful place?
Uh, dreadful place. Place.
I may find a way from this dreadful place.
I may find a way
Oh,
from this dreadful
okay, but it's not.
place.
It's not way. It's because remember this is a big word. It's a big sound. It's not way, but way.
Okay, sir. Okay. Way.
I may
Way.
find a way. These are big sounds. They're not little sounds.
I may find a way
From this dreadful place.
from this dreadful place.
Okay, so let's see. PP is saying, looks like you've been wearing your earphones longer than recommended. I don't understand this message. Uh, what part, PP? What part of the message don't you understand? What is confusing about that? Can you Can you give a little more information? Okay, Pachu. Let's read this paragraph from the beginning to the end, and then I think we'll finish for tonight. Okay. I shall not
Okay,
remain
sir.
alone with them. Can you read that sentence?
Okay. I shall not remain alone with them.
I shall try to scale the castle wall farther than I have yet attempted.
I shall try to scale the castle wall further than I have yet attempted.
Okay, now remember when you say the Y, you have to pull back your tongue and it's almost hitting the top of your mouth
Yet,
back.
yet,
Try to say that
yet.
again. Read that sentence again, but concentrate on pronouncing that Y.
Okay, sir. I shall try to scale the castle wall further than I have yet attempted.
Okay, try again. Remember to pull your tongue back. Yet. Yet.
Yet,
That was good.
yet,
But see, it's good. You can
yet.
say it. I know you can say it. You're saying it now perfectly. Try to do it in the middle of a sentence. Try to read that again and say yet. Remember to pull your tongue back.
I shall try to scale the castle wall further than I have yet
Oh,
attempted.
that was very good. That was very good. PP says that was a message on his phone. Well, your phone is giving you a warning, PP. It's saying you're using your earbuds, your earphones for a very long time and maybe it's not a good idea. It's telling you to stop for a while because they don't recommend that you use the earphones that frequently. Okay, uh, I shall take some of the gold with me,
I shall take some of the gold with me,
lest I want it later.
lest I want it later. Later,
Later, two sounds. You have to put two sounds in there. Later,
later,
that's better.
la-
Later. Okay.
later.
I may find a way from this dreadful place.
I may find a way from this dreadful place.
Okay. All right. And I think that we have to stop here for today. And now I know I
Okay, sir.
said I would be doing Gone with the Wind tomorrow, but that has changed. I can't do it anymore. So I won't be doing a video tomorrow morning, unfortunately. So we can the next day we can do it, okay? So I won't be here in 12 hours. All right? Okay, well thank you everybody for watching and thank you for all of your questions and comments. And I hope that you come back when we read chapter 5 of Dracula, or if you want to join me for Gone with the Wind, I'm reading that also. And we can practice pronunciation and things like that as well. So thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.